Welcome, everyone. This is Pine Grove News Live, and it's 6 o'clock on the dot. Let's see, I got the music turned off. Let's go check and see if we're live yet at YouTube. And we are. All right, good. So I hope everyone's doing okay. Considering the time we're in anyway. And it's Friday, so, happy Sabbath come sundown for those who practice it on Saturday. Of course, every day is a good day. Celebrate Jesus Christ. Yep. Well, the only notes I got for today are dates. Okay. Yeah, in case anybody wanted to know, here in Connecticut, it is typical fall day. Sprinkling, raining off and on, windy, leaves blowing around. A little chilly, but that's New England. We still have a lot of green leaves on the tree, though. I mean, there is, some color, but this time of year, I mean, what is it, the 11th now? So, I mean, these things have to be down, at least a week before Halloween in order to be able to pick all these leaves up before it snows. Just don't want a repeat of another October storm. Don't want another 9 days of no power. You got to imagine. I mean, I been through that experience of those people in California. Let me tell you something. It is definitely, there's something, it's just not right what's going on there. To have that's the guarantee that we get when we sign a contract with these people, that they are to supply electricity. I don't know if it's, in the fine print somewhere. Of course, who reads the fine print, right? I try to get through it, but never have I been able to finish the whole thing. I mean, they just make it difficult and dry, and for that purpose. And probably right towards the end, last paragraph, they're going to tell you something. They always tell me something that I don't like, and of course I can just click no and not have electricity and not have other things. But we don't do that, do we? So please pray for those people in California. I mean, last time I heard it was 1 million people. Been hearing 800,000 since last night that are going to be out, anywhere from 3 to 7 days. Also heard, and I do not have obviously headlines for you for that right now, that Comcast down there in Northern California anyway is pretty upset because their customers are calling them, asking them to, probate their bills because they, had half a day or a whole day, of services interrupted. And so now they are not going to get paid so much money. So, yeah, they had to have known that this was going to happen, but that's not what they're doing it for. We all know. Debbie Traveris was on, I don't know if it was probably last night's show. She was on some show in the UK, and I forget the name of it. But I'm sure it's at her site at stopthecrime.net. Could be .org. I'm not sure. But she has all those interviews there. And I just, pray for her too. I mean, she's just throwing herself out there, her and her husband, going around to these places, looking into all this data. That she does a lot of work. And if possible, let's go support her. There are others that are out there too, and some and others you don't. I mean, like me, you don't know. A lot of people don't listen to me. They don't know about me. Used to have the listeners, but YouTube is, doing their job and suppressing and, making it hard to, find me and others in their, search pages, whatever. So, I don't know what to tell you. It's just the times we live in. It's just crazy to have an electric company. Just imagine, you got to put yourself, if you ever lost power for more than a couple of days, you have to put yourself in that position. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, what can you do? You can go to your representatives, all those crooked people, and your leaders, and complain to them. I mean, that might work, even though, they might get paid to go another route. But in any case, hopefully, and pray for Trump and his safety, because he's really going, all out now. Uh, so, anyways, I was going to bring you two dates. Here's a date, and this is from, I haven't heard the December 21st one anywhere else, but his name, this YouTuber, is called William Mount. Okay, I listen to him only because he does have some good information, pertinent information, vetted information. Then other parts, I'd, just tell you that just to use your discernment, because I mean, he claims to be clairvoyant. He claims to have been a lot of things. And I researched him one time, and he calls himself a vet, and that he's captain or something like that. I researched that. I think it was an honorary. They gave him a piece of paper giving him an honorary captain position. I don't think he ever held any rank in the real military, but like everyone else, we all embellish stories, tell lies, white lies, and I try not to. A lot of times I do assume, and I have had brothers and sisters come after me for that, and I want to thank them for that. Because a lot, I'm very opinionated, that's for sure. Right or wrong, everybody's entitled to their opinion. So, with that, I mean, December 21st was the thing. I mean, this guy claims that the whole world is going to be nuked. Yep. The elites are going to somehow create a worldwide war and have it all nuked. And that doesn't make any sense. So that's the one date that really, I mean, what could they possibly gain if they had, even if they have the tunnels underground, which they do, or these cities. I mean, they would have to live underneath there hundreds of years. I would say at least 100 years. And if you're going to nuke the whole planet, it's probably going to be a couple hundred years, at least. Unless they have some plan, some technology that we don't know about, that they can get rid of all the radiation and, decontaminate things on the planet, on the earth. Anyways, I found that to be ludicrous. I still, I don't even know if I really believe that we actually have nuclear weapons that they talk about. Yeah, there was, Nagasaki and Hiroshima that supposedly we have pictures and video of that, but we also have pictures and video of the United States going to the moon. And I actually sat there as a 10-year-old in my living room and watched this supposed uh, trip to the moon, in black and white, and it was very distorted, just like everything that people are, claim, like UFOs or stories about monsters like the Loch Ness or Bigfoot, Sasquatch. Every time you get video of these things, aren't they always blurry? For the most part, they're pretty blurry. You can't really recognize anything except maybe some type of shape. And if, whatever, I just Just throwing that out there. The other date is this month. Okay, October 19th. From the same source, same person. Okay, but I have heard this date before. October 19th, and it is involving one nuke. Now you know my theory that my theory is, and the Illuminati cards actually show, that the Big Ben in the UK, that is nuked. It shows. I believe there's a card in there about New York not being nuked, more or less, but being inundated by water, and it has it on the dollar bills too, or $20 bills, or $50 bill, one of those two. There's somebody out there who specifically has a web page that's what they do. They take this money and they try and find what the elite or whoever are trying to tell us. So October 19th, supposedly a nuke is going to be set off in the Ukraine. And that only makes sense because of the things that are going on right now. Very big possibility. I mean, I'm just guessing. When I heard that the nukes were taken out of there once, Russia collapsed and became, individual states. Yeah, Ukraine, they had to give up all their weapons, all their weaponry in order for the United States to help them. But anyways, and of course, what's going on with the Ukraine, with the Biden thing and the Trump thing, and this, satire that's going on in the White House and around the world. And I just pray, I think we all should, that I don't know. I don't know if we can, we can pray for sense, to make sense of it all, but don't we all know already? Don't we all know really what is going on? I mean, that's why I do the news, so that we can get a sense of what's going on and the times that we're living in. I mean, come on, things are just getting darker by the day. I believe it's in the Bible somewhere that there's going to be a darkness that, just like there was on the Passover. Was it the Passover or was it before that? That, they had that 3 days of just total darkness and everyone just sat and stood still because it was a darkness that you or I cannot imagine. I mean, but a darkness so dark that for fear, you would not move. Nobody moved for 3 days. I wonder where they went to the bathroom. Anyways, it's no joke because that's supposedly going to happen again. A lot of things. So, that's basically about it as far as notes and what I got from today and what's going on out there. Let's see if I can think of anything else. Just let me get one little quick look. Oh yeah, here's a story that I don't have on my PC, but it's out there. The story about Russia in the North Pole. Apparently in the North Pole, they had found bubbling methane. Yeah, bubbling methane on top of the water in pools, and it was bubbling like it was boiling, but it wasn't boiling. It was just bubbling. It wasn't hot. I mean, there was so much methane in this area that they were able to scoop it out in buckets. So I looked up the story anyway, and I looked up at Google. I just methane, Google, methane in the North Pole. Because it is on the, what do you call it, the RSOE website. That's one of those websites, the RSOE, EDIS. If you, type that in, you should come up with information. It's just it tells you about a bunch of incidents, hazardous incidents or infectious incidents that happen around the world. and usually it's not real time unless you're actually pay for a subscription or something like that. So that was one of the events in this RSOEEDIS for this. They're calling it a Common Alerting Protocol information. Let's see, October 10th, climate change in the Arctic. So category is meteorological ink flood. Certainty observed determined to have occurred or be ongoing, and the scope to the public for general dissemination to unrestricted audiences. The severity of the event is called extreme, extraordinary threat to life or property. But they say the urgency is past, so responsive attention is no longer required. I don't know. You know, methane in the North Pole anyway. So Arctic methane release is the release of methane from seasoned soils in permafrost. Okay, and we know that the permafrost is melting because we've got some kind of climatic changes. The global warmists, are claiming, will claim this for their own. In the meantime, there's a lot of people getting into early winter and deep freezes already. I mean, we got a warning out for mid-America, North mid-America. Let me put this out first. This is that Fair Use Act. We'll put that out before we start reading the headlines. Okay. So, let me get back to. So, anyways, methane bubbling up in the North Pole. You know that the Russians are there, and they have actually a nuclear plant that is floating on a platform. If been I think we discussed it, that they had recently, set sail with this floating bomb or whatever they want to call it. Let's see. So where was I? Let me. All right. Anyway. All right. Let's get to the actual headlines that we do have. So that's the ones I do not have articles information for you at the moment. But this is from AccuWeather. We're going to talk about this that is going on and is early, I guess. Still fall, right? I mean, fall is still pretty early. So this blizzard to usher in piercing cold, November-like temperatures in its wake. So AccuWeather Chief Broadcast Meteorologist Bernie Rayno has an update on the staggering snowfall amounts and where snow will continue to fall into the weekend. So the circulation around a powerful storm producing heavy snow and blizzard conditions over the northern plains. That will send the chilliest air of the season so far through much of the central United States to this weekend. So let me see if I can get you some locations. Got Denver, Omaha, Minneapolis. Right now it's up there, still in Canada, but drooping down. Let's see. Yeah, there have been a lot of flip-flopping, temperature days. Even here in New England, I don't see drops like that. But we haven't had too many. I know Northern California has had a lot more than we have. 30 degrees one night and 80 degrees the next day, or 85. That's a big flip-flop. So people in Denver basked in sunshine and temperatures in the lower 80s during Wednesday afternoon, but awoke to temperatures in the upper teens. See what I mean? On Thursday morning. So the temperature plummeted more than 60 degrees in less than 24 hours. And this is going on, quite a bit now. I don't remember us talking about this flip-flopping like this that much last year. So maybe this is, another, obviously, pain, which, may be increasing. Who knows? So that was the temperature flip in those 24 hours, making that the largest 2-day temperature swing ever recorded in October. So AccuWeather real field temperatures were near zero Thursday morning, while snow created slushy roads. The temperature in Denver stood at 11 as of 3 a.m. On Friday, which shattered the old record for the date of 22 back in 1946. So within the snow area through Friday night, it will feel like, more like late November, factoring in the winds. Temperatures in the core of the storm over the Dakotas will be in the single digits and lower teens. So, according to this map that you will see on the video, talking about Friday, today, frostbite, hypothermia risk. Yeah, bring your pets inside, of course. I mean, do you really have to tell somebody to bring the pets inside? I don't know about that. So, let's see. Yeah. Just reading other related headlines. Severe thunderstorms, tornadoes may erupt on southern edge of the snowstorm. Snow piling up over the northern U.S. U.S. farmers get exactly what they didn't want. So, while the front range of the Rockies and the adjacent high plains will likely have the most extreme temperature swing during the event, the advance of the cold air over the plains and much cooler air over the Mississippi Valley and the Midwest may be refreshing to some, but a shock to others. Well, there you go. So, on the high on 91 on Thursday, temperatures may be no higher than 60 on some thermometers on Friday in Dallas. So actual temperatures are forecast to dip to freezing in Omaha, Nebraska, Topeka, and Wichita, Kansas, and Oklahoma City during Friday night. Unseasonably cold. That's what they call it. Here we go. Here we go, man. Climate chaos. Just remember, it's climate chaos. Something going on, and right? There's got to be something going on. Have you ever seen, during your life, however long you've been here, these conditions like this, and increasing and breaking records. So I said this last year, breaking records every year, breaking their own records. Cold, heat. So I've never heard this before. So I guess this is a new name also. This is from the Watchers. A damaging gustnado. That's what they're calling it. A gustnado. Gustnado. A gustnado. So I don't know what to tell you about that, folks. I guess it's a gusty wind that acted like a tornado. I don't know. But anyway, the headline is damaging gustnado rips through a gas station in Thailand's Sumaprekan. Thailand. Well, I think they're marked for a lot more anyway. I don't know what they believe in Thailand. Maybe it's Buddhist or something like that. But yeah, man. There's no limit on who can get what anywhere. It just everyone gets 100-year or 1,000-year storms, or monsoons turning into 2 seasons of monsoons. I mean, crazy, man. It's crazy. Yeah. So this large damaging gust NATO touched down in this province, Sumupretkin province, Thailand on the 5th. And there's a little video there. You know, that almost looks fake. I guess we're looking from the inside of the gas station.
เฮ้ยมานี่แล้วไอ้เหี้ยล็อกหนูกดล็อกเร็วเฮ้ยออกล็อกไม่ได้เฮ้ยเหี้ยเรียบร้อยแล้วออกล็อกไม่ได้เฮ้ยล็อกเลยนะล็อกเลยครับ
Oh, and so that was very interesting. The power of the winds, you know. I don't know where, maybe it was in Revelation. Do you remember this? You know, where the Lord told the four corner winds, the angels that control the winds, to wait. Right? Well, this may be just a prelude of, you know, the things to come. I mean, he talks about a whirlwind too in Revelation. We've seen a lot of whirlwinds lately. I don't know what this is. Do you people know what this is? A gigantic jet. Now, I'm not familiar with all the terms, obviously, of forecasting storms and whatnot, but in case you know, I just picked it up because it's just kind of reminiscent of the things that have been going on with these storms that seem to be, you know, take on their own character or personality. Sometimes just not acting like what they really are. I mean, hurricanes that stop and spin, hurricanes that go from, you know, actually a Cat 1 hurricane, you know, in the morning and end up being a Cat 4 by the afternoon. I mean, really, I've never seen anything intensify like that quickly. That was the one that made it to the mid-Atlantic and it just went northward. Good thing. But anyways, also from the Watchers, this first example of a double gigantic jet captured over Puerto Rico. And it looks to me like it's just a big, you know, storm cell. And apparently it is very unusual. And so that's the only reason that I brought it here. And maybe you all know something about it and can find the, I don't know. They're calling it here that possibly be the first record of this phenomenon. So I don't know what it is. Anybody else knows? And this won't work. I tried it before anyway. It wouldn't work. Yeah, it's not working. Strange lightning bolts reached upwards and were about 100 or 328,000 feet offshore. Anyways, let's move on. This extremely dangerous typhoon Hagibis nears Tokyo. This is posted for today. I know that the Watchers usually, if I don't pay attention, you know, some of these stories could be a couple days old already. This one was dated, and I know that we were watching it the other day. It's not even recording it on AccuWeather as a typhoon. At least maybe, you know, because we only deal with, you know, hurricanes over here in the Atlantic. They don't give them category, you know, like Hurricane 2, you know, Cat 2, Cat 4. They're just calling it an extremely dangerous typhoon. And somebody said the other day that it could be the strongest ever recorded. At least in that area, I guess. So Hagibis nears Tokyo, potentially the strongest to hit the city since 1958 Japan. I've heard before that, it was the strongest ever. But in any case, they're going to get hammered with this. And apparently, I mean, they're getting hammered right now. Landfall expected near Tokyo on the 12th. They're saying tomorrow with maximum sustained winds of 160. I'm sorry, it's only 98 miles per hour. I saw the winds the other day, yesterday on AccuWeather, and it was, I know I wasn't reading kilometers, but I think the winds the other day were 160. So it weakened quite a bit. So they're saying this is equivalent to a Category 2 hurricane. Okay, so I'm glad they did that because they didn't state it earlier. Authorities are urging residents and tourists to prepare in advance and protect their lives. You have to be told to protect your lives. I mean, that's just human nature, man. People don't even have to think about that to protect their lives. It is instinctual, right? Anyways, then we're going to talk about the fires because I heard that there was at least 4 or 5 fires of, significant size already going on in California. Of course, you know about the, mandatory power outages. I mean, I don't know. Again, I know that's all they've been talking about for the past few days is the power outages. And, I don't know what they're trying to do besides kill people. I don't know if they're trying to prepare them, make them go out and buy generators and make them buy prep food, water and keep it in their homes. I mean, maybe they're doing that for, a good reason to actually, because they know that you won't do it unless you're, have to go through something. Some people just will not listen until they have to go through something. You know that, right? I certainly do. A lot of people are just not moved until their little bubble gets burst, gets popped. And hopefully it won't be too bad. Have to pray for my family members for that one. There are some that are in their bubbles, and there are some that are their ears are just not open. Saddle Ridge fire explodes in Southern California. Mandatory evacuation in San Fernando Valley. Mandatory. Okay. I'm so tired of that word mandatory. Anyways, it's all to make you do something you really don't want to. But anyway, I mean, obviously, you're going to protect your life. You're going to protect your family's lives. I have never, really listened to powers that be, when they come to tell me to do something. I am just not one to just go and do it. No, you have to tell me why. I have to reason it out. In any case, tell me I have to move from my house. I mean, there's so many things that, that is just wrong about us, we know that we're the slaves and whatnot, but, paying for your house and on the deed has the property, the amount of the property. And, you pay all your life, it could be up to 30 years to pay your house. Then to come find out you don't own the land that the house is on. And they can keep charging you taxes until the day you die, even though, you don't use any of their services. And that's basically what they want the taxes for, because they, say that they serve you, public schools. I don't think that once you're paid off and you don't have kids going to public schools or nobody else taking any services from them, you shouldn't have to pay your property taxes. That should be illegal. I mean, people have had their houses taken from them, living there all their lives, and the government or the state, whatever town you live in, can come and take your house. Well, nobody said that this life is fair about anything. So I don't want to sound bitter, but I will be a little angry if they ever came and, tried to pull that one on me. I wouldn't give them my house. I'd blow it up. They can come pick up the pieces, charge me for the excavation of the rubble. Anyways, I don't know. Maybe I just got to move out of the state. It's getting, everything that California does, all the stupid laws that they pass, that these people, the 440 something laws per day that are passed in this country. So anyways, people there, fires. And now, you know, I heard that there was a fire that was started anyway, even though they had the power out. And so they got the fire anyway. Okay. Even though the power is out, no transmission, no winds. There were no winds reported in a lot of these places. And that was what do you call it? PG and E. Yeah, Pacific Gas and Electric. I mean, that's their claim, what they said to everybody, that's why they're shutting the power down. If the wind picks up or it's forecasted to pick up, they're going to shut the power off. They've already declared bankruptcy as far as I've known, and because people were suing them because somebody made them the scapegoat for the last fires there in Paradise and such. And so for some reason they're trying to protect themselves. That's what they're saying anyway, but they're already protected under bankruptcy. In any case, the fire still started. But you know what the problem with that is? Is now some people don't have water because they're pumping, some people have wells and they can't pump the water. And now their houses are going to burn. I heard that what do you call it? Trailer park, I guess that's what you call it, burned up. You would think, how much more fire can there actually be? But it's about moving the people. It's about getting them off the land so that they can come in. It's all a land grab. It's about a land grab. All right, so let's move on. Los Angeles, okay? Los Angeles wildfire spreads to 4,000 acres, forcing evacuations in San Fernando Valley. 4,000 acres. I remember listening to fires last year that were, in the tens of thousands of acres. Anyway, and there were mandatory evacuations. In any case, so a wind whipped wildfire. Yeah, wind whipped wildfire. That's what NBC's calling it. In the San Fernando Valley grew to over 4,000 acres overnight. Poof. Hours after a blaze in neighboring Riverside County tore through a mobile home park. Mandatory evacuations were ordered in the San Fernando Valley. Parts of the major highways were shut down, and at least 10 schools were closed Friday, today. So in the earlier blaze Thursday, 74 structures were destroyed and 16 others were damaged in the Calamasa in Riverside County, about 70 miles east of Los Angeles. Hours later, the fire in Los Angeles started in Slammer, in the San Fernando Valley, north of downtown. I wonder if they're trying to burn all the homeless people out. Well, that was in the city. Anyways, so you're going to be hearing about these fires for quite a while, and you're going to be hearing about these stories from Pacific Gas and Electric and the customers who are very, very upset. I would be too. I wouldn't know what to do except, there's nothing really you could do at the moment. Just, try and prepare, for those days, get water. I mean, they're actually coming over the TV telling people to clean out their tubs and fill it with water. Yeah, it's, easy for them while they're at the switch, right? I don't know. We know, right? So we got an upcoming holiday, right? Right? On Monday. Somebody always said that it should be changed because Columbus really didn't discover America first. But in any case, the D.C. Council approves emergency legislation to rename Columbus Day as Indigenous Peoples Day in the district. Yeah. So say goodbye to America. I mean, granted, I mean, he probably didn't. I've heard stories that he was, Columbus was not first one to discover America. We can go on and on and on about who may have. But yeah, the Indians were here. Yep, the native people. But they also came here from somewhere else. They all came from over there in what do you call it? The cradle of the world over there in Africa. I mean, isn't that where we all came from? And then Israelites were taken captive and spread out over the world. Twice. So I don't know. I mean, the Indians had to come, to America, and they did. They came to America before Columbus, yeah, but there's stories about where those Indians came from. I mean, who were the first people here? Well, we don't know. There's all kinds of stories about that too. So the district will celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day, okay, next Monday instead of Columbus Day after the D.C. Council approved emergency legislation. Emergency legislation, just to rename the day. Tax dollars at use, man. This is your tax dollars at use. Maybe you should go, excuse me, maybe you should go to these meetings and tell them to stop wasting our money frivolously. I mean, Connecticut did that for a little while. Of all the, projects that the state took on and wasted money, I mean, I could tell you about something right in our neighborhood. They bought up like 5 houses to make the neighborhood uh, run into the main street kind of evenly. So they, and 2 houses are still there. Anyways, I can go into that, but what a mess that was and a waste of money. We had to pay for those houses. Anyways, here's, say goodbye to Memphis, I guess. Memphis has joined, or Tennessee has joined Sodom and Gomorrah. There's a lot of places in America that have now, we've become Sodom and Gomorrah at a lower level. Teen boy in dress wins homecoming royalty as more public schools go gender neutral at homecoming. I mean, my Lord. Give us strength, Lord. Give us strength. So this gay teenage boy wearing a dress won the title of homecoming royalty at his Memphis high school. The staff at the school celebrated it on social media. We crowned our 2019 homecoming royalty tonight. Read, a post on the White Station High School Facebook page. Congrats to senior Brandon Allen. Brandon Allen accepted the title while wearing a floor-length gown and crown with holding a bouquet of flowers in the middle of the school's football field. All right, Memphis, congratulations on your decline. Democratic presidential candidate says churches who oppose same-sex marriage will lose tax-exempt status. Price to pay for following God, don't you think? This guy will never become president. Can only hope not. Sad part about that, I think we have a post for that also. You're going to have to worry about another candidate. Apparently, she's third in the polls and she's not even announced that she's running yet, but she is collecting donations. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. And what's this one? Oh, Iranian oil tanker near Saudi Arabia coast hit by missiles, officials say. I don't know how true that is, but we're going to run this.
All right, a Fox News alert. An Iranian oil tanker reportedly attacked off the coast of Saudi Arabia overnight. Iranian officials say 2 missiles hit that tanker, causing heavy damage with oil spilling right into the Red Sea. But Iran's national tanker company is denying those reports. Nobody has claimed responsibility for the attack, and the Saudis have not yet commented. The blast.
Yeah. So don't get that one. Iranians aren't even, saying that it was their tanker or that it was attacked. So whatever. I don't know what's going on here either, but I mean, Iran's, their oil tanker, and they're not admitting that anything ever happened. Maybe I shouldn't even put that one out there. Could be just set up to something else. Syrian Christians pray, kiss the Bible before heading to the front lines in the battle against Turkey. I think this was one of the biggest mistakes that Trump did, but in the end, I don't know his strategy. I don't know what he's doing, and I never agreed to the first time when what do you call them? They're not the Turks. The Kurds, yes, the Kurds. When they were first left behind in Iraq, and they were on our side then too, we also left them to whoever it was over there that came and attacked them. I don't know. I don't remember the whole story, but we've turned on them twice now. Christians, okay? American-loving, democratic people who just want a place to call their own, kind of wandering around and nobody, not finding a place. I mean, you would almost think that something like this might be in the Bible somewhere. No place to call their own. And let's go to this report right here. This is a report on this from South Front, and apparently they're in financial crisis. So if anyone feels led to donate to them, they have, they're the only ones that I go to get these updates from these wars over there. They're very good at it. So the Syrian War Report, October 11, 2019, Turkish forces storming Tel Abyad, Ras Al Ain. Yeah, so since October 9th, the Turkish army forces and Turkish-backed militants have been developing a ground phase of their operations against the Kurds, armed groups in northern Syria. There is a video here. I'm going to start it from the beginning. Basically tells you how far Turkey may be going. And if that's the case, I mean, watch it.
Since October 9th, the Turkish armed forces and Turkish-backed militants have been developing a ground phase of their operations against Kurdish armed groups in northeastern Syria. The main Turkish efforts were focused on the town of Ras Al Ain and Tel Abyad. Turkish-led forces captured several villages surrounding the towns and even entered Tel Abyad. Nonetheless, the situation in the area remains unstable. It is expected that the Syrian Democratic Forces, a brand used by mainstream media to describe the YPG and YPJ, will be able to defend fortified urban areas until they are not encircled. According to pro-Turkish sources, over 100 YPG members were neutralized since the start of the operation. This number remains unconfirmed. Pro-Kurdish sources claim that the YPG was able to eliminate several pieces of Turkish military equipment and kill 2 dozens of Turkish proxies. These claims were also barely confirmed by any evidence. However, at least several civilians were injured in a mortar shelling that targeted the Turkish town of Ceylan Pinar. Syria's state-run news agency Sana reported on October 10th that about 100 US troops have left northeastern Syria through the Samalka border crossing with Iraq. Taking into account that President Donald Trump called Turkey's operation a bad idea, but distanced himself from Kurdish forces because they did not help the US in World War II, it becomes more and more clear that the Turkish military action in the region is in fact coordinated with the US. By this move, the Trump administration makes an important step to return confidence of its key ally in the Eastern Mediterranean and, at the same time, delivers a blow to the efforts of the Obama administration and the CIA that had contributed notable efforts in supporting the Kurdish project in northern Syria. The possible rapprochement of the US and Turkey over the conflict in Syria will allow Washington to strengthen its campaign to limit the influence of Iran and the Assad government in the war-torn country, as well as open additional opportunities for a revanche of the US military-industrial complex on the Turkish market. This is a logical step in the framework of the nation-oriented policy provided by the Trump administration. The key question is how deep into Syria the Turkish military is planning to expand its Operation Peace Spring, currently pro-Turkey.
Yeah, that's the name of it, Peace String. That's what they're calling the killing of these innocent Kurds, Christians, okay? Yeah, and this is the line right here that they just showed you of where I guess that they're estimating that they are or have stopped. I mean, if they do that, at least we can pray that they don't move any further and they still, give these Kurds their land here. I mean, in Syria. Anyway, it's all of it is just a bad idea. I don't know, Trump is really, needs to check himself sometimes. Why his remark about the Kurds not helping in World War II? What kind of code that was, I have no idea. But Trump wasn't around for World War II either. So, anyways, let's just move on. Yeah, this is just a weird story. This is from the Mirror, so take knowledge that this Mirror is a UK paper and it's a tabloid, and you're going to have very fantastic headlines out there. So anyways, this terminally ill scientist is about to transform into the world's first full cyborg. Doesn't go into how he's going to do that. I mean, anyways, first of all, he was diagnosed with this motor neuron disease 2 years ago, but instead of accepting his fate, he decided to challenge what it meant to be human. I got to get a drink. But anyway, we'll see if this plays. Last time it did. It's only 18 seconds.
Hello, I am the future. I am the beginning of Peter 2.0. On the 10th of October 2019, Peter 1.0 will say his very last words. But by then I will be fully operational and I will come online.
Yeah, so apparently what he means by coming online, I don't know, but he has supposedly had his vocal cords severed, which would give him an extra, I don't know, decade or so of life. So he decided to do that. I don't know how he exactly has transformed himself. It's just a strange story. It doesn't really tell you much.
The whole family.
I don't know what the heck's going on there. They got some really weird stuff on this paper. Anyways, I don't know what he's planning on doing. I mean, we've heard about science where they can, copy and paste your memories and other things like that, and your whatever's in your brain. I don't believe that they can do that. I believe that they can, they know about, your nerves and the way the things work there, and they can't copy that. Anyways, um, don't really know why I put this out there. I just thought it was fantastic story. I know that people go to seminars where they actually have these humans' bodies in bags, supposedly cloned, and you can have your I guess your thoughts, your memories, all that uploaded into these clones, and that you could live on in them. And I mean, it just goes to that, and the fact that this AI, and remember, Star Trek had their data. They called them. He was called Data. He was in Star Trek, not Voyager, Star Trek Enterprise, the new series with Jean-Luc Picard, as captain. Data was the android, okay? Kind of a little green, but anyways. I mean, a lot of other things in these Star Trek shows have come out technologically, okay, into our world. So I wouldn't, and we've seen what's her name? I forget those talking creatures that they made. What is her name, man? I can't remember her name. Sophia. I think it was Sophia. Remember her? I mean, actually carrying on conversation with people, and went on that nighttime show. And anyways, yeah, I mean, they're so far advanced, I'm sure, more than what we know, and they can do these things and mimic these things. In any case, it's just a place where I do not want to be. Mosquito virus has become the worst outbreak in 50 years. Fall in the Northeast is one of the most beautiful times of the year. The leaves are changing, the temperatures haven't quite plummeted yet. But this fall, people from Massachusetts to Michigan are actually praying for an early winter. And officials are warning entire communities to stay indoors. It's another thing that they're trying to do with us, scare us to stay indoors for some reason. They want us indoors. They want us to go to work, make our money, give it to them, and stay indoors when you get home and you're, whatever. So anyways, but for the first time in more than a decade, these mosquito-transmitted disease called EEE is killing people. Yeah, we know about it. It's been nearly 50 years since the last outbreak of this scale. So EEE virus is a mosquito-borne virus that occurs in the eastern half of the U.S., and it's a very rare disease. Well, it takes a good percentage, too, the mortality rate. I mean, I think it was like 60% that they've had as a mortality rate in Massachusetts, anyway. I think we've had one death here in Connecticut. I think they've had like 6, maybe as high as 9. But I guess it's an outbreak if it's more than 2. So anyways, yeah, they have geoengineered these mosquitoes. You've heard about these stories, in Florida, and in all those places, that were inundated with the hurricane rains and all that. Houston, and probably in, LA, Katrina, all that stuff. You've heard many stories of them geoengineering these mosquitoes to not be able to breed, yet they do. And now they're becoming these horrific, even in size, bigger. So, yeah, mankind, big heart, whatever, going about it the wrong way. Another person has died of Legionnaire's disease linked to a hot tub display at a North Carolina fair. Man, that's why I don't go into those things. Besides the fact that, hot boiling water. I mean, this hot boiling water, it just boils off whatever dead skin you have on you and other stuff. I mean, that's one of the reasons I don't go into darn things. All that stuff. We are not clean beings. I mean, we are dirty creatures, in and out. So, anyways, North Carolina. Don't go into hot tubs in areas where there's all kinds of people have been popping in and out of that thing. That's just insanity to do that. Test it out. So authorities are not publicly identifying the deceased. Health officials have confirmed 134 cases of this Legionnaires' disease, an airborne lung infection, or Pontiac fever, a milder form of the disease, in residents of multiple states who attended last month's North Carolina Mountain State Fair in Fletcher, North Carolina. 88 people have been hospitalized. Huh. Okay. Don't go in the hot tubs. Don't go. You remember this? 13-year-old girl who pointed a finger gun at classmates charged with a felony. I didn't think you could do that with a 13-year-old. Of course, I didn't think a 16-year-old could go to jail, but yeah, he did. A Kansas middle school girl who formed her fingers into a gun and pointed at several of her classmates after another student asked her who she would kill was arrested and charged with the felony. The incident happened September 18th at the Westridge Middle School in Overland Park, about 13 miles south of Kansas City, after administrators were alerted to a potential threat made by a 13-year-old student. Police said in a news release. According to the Kansas City Star, the girl was having a discussion with a classmate who asked if she could kill 5 people in the room, and who would they be? And the girl responded by allegedly making a finger gun and pointing it at 4 students and then pointing it at herself. Oh, hell, she was asked a question. She was just answering it. What kind of a question? I would have really liked to talk to that boy or whoever it was who asked that question. I mean, these are the things that these teens have in their heads. Look at the stuff that they're playing, the games they're playing, the TV they're watching, the phones that they're on, and not being social, talking without the phones. We're in big trouble with this upcoming generation, and even more so with the one after that. Like, you're going to see it. It's only going to happen within the next 10 years if we have that long, which I don't think we have that long. I think we're only going to be able, if it goes the distance, I think 24, 25. My brother predicted 26. I thought it would be over by now. It's not. And just when you think the Pope couldn't do anything more idiotic and off script, he blesses a pagan idol of a naked woman in the Vatican in this ceremony. Yeah. Pope Francis hosted a global warming theme event that included dozens of people literally bowing down before a carved pagan idol inside the Vatican walls. I guess that's tolerance of everyone, right? I mean, we're not to bow down to these things. And if we know about it and we bow down to these things, so much more is going to happen to you. Yeah. Also from News Punch, Julian Assange reaches the end of his prison sentence, but the judge refuses to release him. Oh, that's just typical. It doesn't matter what the rules are. We're going to make more for you. We don't have to follow them, and we'll just keep changing them. Whenever we don't like the result, we're going to change it till we do. So I don't know what's going on with this guy. He was due to be released September 22nd, serving his sentence for breaching bail conditions by seeking refuge in the Ecuadorian embassy in 2012. However, the 48-year-old was told at a court hearing in London last month that he will be kept in Belmarsh prison because of a substantial grounds for believing he will abscond. I don't know what that is. He will ABSCOND. I think they just, I've never seen the word. Ahead of a hearing. He will abscond ahead of a hearing on his possible extradition to the United States. Well, wow, can they do that? No, they can't do that. So they ordered him to remain behind bars for the same reasons as before. Okay, folks. Had about enough. It's this TEPCO hid radioactive leak at Fukushima for almost a year. Oh, there was more than a year. They've been hiding things for quite a while. What did I want to show you? I wanted you to go. I'm just going to read this off, okay? Because this is where, down here, this is one of my feeds, okay, from just this newswire. This one down here, Hillary Clinton jumps to third place in 2020. The rumors swirl. Hillary Clinton has jumped to third place behind Elizabeth Warren and Joe Biden on Predcliffe. As rumors swirl, the former presidential candidate is going to enter the 2020 race. Who is this from? Newswire. Anyway. Oh, disappear. So you do know that word. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know that. All right, where was I? So anyways, I just wanted to show you this feed that I get. We don't have any more news, so there's quite a bit just in this feed. That, a lot of things I don't include. I don't know why I picked the ones I do, but because there's so much stuff out there. Yeah, Elizabeth Warren offers minorities $1 trillion payout for environmental racism. I don't get that, folks. It is being used almost by everybody, especially activists, politicians. Where they get, not just racism against, a different color or whatever, but racism against nature. And they're just using that word for everything. And it's just ludicrous. It's lunacy. Crazy. That they're just using that word for everything. Yeah, and we still are not sure of all these tens of thousands of ISIS prisoners that may escape the jails in Syria. Yeah, maybe they want to do that. I don't know. Pentagon to deploy thousands of extra troops to enhance defense of Saudi Arabia. 25% of Americans have never eaten a vegetable. Yeah. John Voight used to support the Democrats, but they do not represent America anymore. Folks, I don't think we're in America anymore. I think the majority of America has just been taken over. It's gone. If we want it back, we're going to have to fight for it. There's no turning back now unless we fight for it. That's all I'm saying. Go pray. Because sooner or later it will come to your back door or your front door. And then, whatever bubble you're in, it will be gone. So with that, everyone, God bless. Have a great weekend. I'm trying to get out there to do something. I know my son's birthday is tomorrow. And my wife they're coming over. My wife is cooking him a dinner, which is a rarity because she doesn't really cook anymore. So in any case, but she does make a great stir fry, chicken stir fry. So that's what we're having. I'm still trying to get out there and do a lot of things, but thing on my mind next, I still haven't done the one on suicide, that talk I wanted to have. But I want to start, I'm thinking about starting a series maybe once a week, maybe briefly, yeah, briefly, between maybe on Tuesdays and or Thursdays, maybe once on the weekend. I don't know. It's just a thought that I have in my head. I'm going to read from Jasher and Enoch and maybe talk about it some and compare it to the Bible. You know, kind of look at the canon and where they left off, especially in Genesis about Abraham. In Jasher, it's a great story of detail on each or the individuals of or other things of importance in the Bible that just leave you hanging in the Bible, kind of. Well, it does for me. I want to know more. So Jasher is a good book that I like reading because it answers those questions. Now, and then, I wanted to talk about the other book too, Adam and Eve. We could talk about that at another time. I've read it. I've read it a couple times, and there's some pertinent information in there that I'd like to go over. I'm not going to go too far into that because the only thing about that book is that supposedly it's an oracle tradition that this story was passed down and somebody finally wrote it down on paper. But the Jews were supposed to do that. They have other things that they pass down oracally. It's you have to speak it. What is going on? I don't know why it stopped. Anyways, I guess we're done. My screencast-o-matic that normally programs in case YouTube doesn't work has stopped at 1 minute 15 seconds. 1 minute, I'm sorry, 1 hour 15 minutes and 9 seconds. It just stopped itself. I don't know what's going on with that. So we're stopping that, and God bless everyone. Take care of each other. Watch out for each other, and hopefully we'll get to talk more on the weekend. I like to start something because people